In this week's episode 152 of the UK Travel Planning Podcast, I chat with Kristen Gonzalez about her April trip to England with her husband and parents. We talk about their time in London and the Cotswolds, including 2 Go Cotswolds tours, a London day trip, and some fantastic experiences in the capital. And of course, don't miss Kristen's top tip for visitors at the end of the episode.
Welcome to the UK Travel Planning Podcast. Your host is the founder of the UK Travel Planning website, Tracy Collins. In this podcast, Tracy shares destination guides, travel tips, and itinerary ideas, as well as interviews with a variety of guests who share their knowledge and experience of UK travel to help you plan your perfect UK vacation. Join us as we explore the UK from cosmopolitan cities to quaint villages, from historic castles to beautiful islands, and from the picturesque countryside to seaside towns.
Kristen, it's fantastic to welcome you onto the podcast this week to do a trip
Thank
report.
you.
They're always my favourite things to find out. I'm just so nosy. I want to find out all about your trip, how it went, what were the great things were that you did. And I know, I can hear so many voices from our listeners go, yeah, trip report. We love trip reports. So this is going to be episode 152. I can't believe it. We are, I mean,
Wow.
it's incredible. We are heading towards our 500,000 downloads. So that's also exciting. Yeah.
Amazing.
So I'm going to say a big thank you to all our listeners. We really appreciate you kind of tuning in every week to listen to me chat to people all about their trips, like Kristen. So Kristen, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you, where you live, how long you went to the UK for, and who you went with. So a few questions to start with.
Yeah, I'm Kristen Gonzalez, and I live in Alexandria, Virginia, which is right outside of Washington, D.C. And we just got back last month from our trip, and we were there for 8 days, not including travel. And I went with my husband and my parents, who are in their late 70s. So, yeah.
And was it a first-time visit for any of you, or was it a repeat trip?
My parents have never been. They're huge travelers. They travel all over the place, but they had never been. My husband and I were in the UK 3 years ago. We went to Liverpool, and we spent a few days there. We're big Liverpool supporters, so we spent a few days there. Yeah, I know. Try not to judge.
No, I certainly won't judge. And I can tell you, I can hear Doug will be like, oh, yes, fantastic, the best. Because, he's also a Liverpool supporter. So he loved that. So, I mean, the first thing that came to my head was like, are you Beatles fans or are you football fans? But football.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So, obviously, this trip, you just went to London?
No, so actually we spent we flew overnight Easter Sunday. So we landed Easter Monday at 6:30 in the morning, I think, and local time. And we went right to the Cotswolds. So we went for the Cotswolds 3 days there and then the 4 days in London.
Ah, perfect. I'd have to ask, why that split? Why did you choose the Cotswolds?
So it's funny. I got literally no help from my traveling companions what they wanted to do. I asked my dad, and he said, I want to go to a pub. That's what I got. And I said, okay. And then he said, I don't think I need to see London. And I said, well, you're wrong. So just so you know, that's incorrect. So, and then I asked my mom, what do you want to see? And she said, I just want to be there.
Oh, that's so
okay. Okay. And then I asked my husband, and of course we tried to look at some football, but we just too much, and my parents aren't big supporters, so we were like, we're gonna skip that for this trip. And it's it's a big chunk of time out of your day for not being supporters. So I was like, we won't do that to my parents. So, but I asked him, and he wanted to go. There's a famous cigar store in London, Davidoff of London, and that's it. That's what I got. So I said, well, I'm on my own. And I've wanted to go to the Cotswolds for a very long time. And I actually saw on the Facebook page, I kept seeing people that had booked the Go Cotswolds tours. And so the more photos I saw of the Cotswolds and of those tours, I said, okay, I need to figure out how to put that in this trip. I wanted to also see the coast. So I was trying, I stared blankly at a map of the UK for like 3 months, and I was like, I don't even know where to start. Also, because I had no help. So I said, I really want to go to the Cotswolds. I really want my parents to see London. And that just seemed like the most logical kind of combination.
Yeah.
When I realized how close the Cotswolds actually are to London, I was like, okay, this is kind of a no-brainer. And then we were only going to spend 2 days in the Cotswolds, and then I started looking into the tours, and they had the secret Cotswolds too. And I was like, okay, so we're going to add a day. So I did that first. I kind of planned the Cotswolds first,
Yeah.
and then added the London. And so we really only stayed in two places. We only stayed in one hotel in the Cotswolds and one hotel in London, but I was able to kind of maximize our week there. So
Well,
yeah.
Lisa will be so excited. I'm sure she'll know that you booked because you heard about them through the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Did you listen? Have you listened to the podcast with Lisa as well?
I haven't yet. No.
So Lisa's done a few podcasts as well. She's a great guest. I think she's been on 3 times now.
Nice.
And we've had a lot of people going, oh, I'd love listening to Lisa. So Lisa, obviously, with her husband, owns Go Cotswolds. So
Yeah.
they're fantastic. So that's really exciting to hear that. So let's ask first of all how you got around. So how did you get to the Cotswolds and then back to London and then back to the airport? How did
Yep.
you do that?
Yeah, so that was one of the other things that was kind of a sticking point. When my husband and I were in Liverpool a few years ago, there was a train strike. And so I think I was a little I was really nervous about using the trains because of that. And I know they're so polite in Britain that they announce it ahead of time. But it was still like just really stressful for me. And then also, even though my parents are well traveled, I was reading some of the posts on the train Facebook group specifically about having, 7, 8 minutes between trains. And my dad just doesn't walk that quickly. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to change trains. So I was looking at different options. We definitely didn't want to drive. Being on the opposite of everything, we were
Yeah.
opposite side of the car, opposite side of the road. And I've heard driving in the Cotswolds can be harrowing.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to do that. And so I booked with Riz.
Ah,
Yeah, I booked with XFA. I'm telling you, your group made our entire trip.
oh,
Our entire trip.
I love to hear it because that's kind of what we're trying. We're trying to kind of provide like
Yeah.
everything that you could possibly want, and because we honestly we seek out the best people for you to work with, the best tour companies, the best
Yeah.
operators, and that. So we kind of have full faith in everybody that we work with. And to be honest, I've got to the point where I kind of feel sorry for people who do not have the Riz experience because he is so
I
popular.
know. He's amazing. So we didn't I was sad because I didn't actually get to meet him. We had another one of his drivers who was incredible, but the communication was like nothing I've ever experienced, honestly. I mean, from the moment we landed, I had a to I welcome to the UK text, and he was so incredibly thoughtful with all of his communication that we actually decided to book him to get back to London. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I booked him to get because it was also, I mean, we'd been up all night. I think one of the mistakes people might make is, flying all night and then jumping in a car in a country you've never been in, or we just didn't want to do that. So, I
No,
wanted to be smart about it.
and we recommend that people don't do that, honestly, because
Yeah.
even to be honest, I mean, I'm used to driving on the left, but if I'm on a long flight, I don't want to drive. I mean, I have
No,
Riz picks us up, Riz picks my parents up, picks
I
Riz
know,
picks
I
my
love it.
daughter up later on the year. Like we use the
Yeah,
people we work with, we work with ourselves and we use them. So doesn't that just reduce the stress? You knew you were going to be met.
enormously.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So that's
Yeah.
fantastic. So
Yeah.
tell me about the Go Cotswolds. So that's fantastic. That's brilliant. Riz is going to love this. So tell me about
Yeah.
the Cotswolds and your Go Cotswolds tours.
Okay, so we stayed in Morton and Marsh. Based on one of the posts that I had seen, I decided to stay there because it had the train station, and I booked our accommodations first. I didn't know how we were traveling yet, but I knew that they had the train station, and I saw that the Go Cotswolds tours picked up there, and I was like, well, this seems like an easy choice then. So we stayed in Morton and Marsh, and then we had that full day there. The first day we got there, because you're trudging through and fighting jet lag. So
Yeah.
we walked around.
Yeah.
And it was lovely. I instantly fell in love, and I kind of started to think maybe we should have spent more time in the Cotswolds, but I don't think there's enough time
Yeah.
for the Cotswolds ever. So, and then the next morning we did the Go Cotswolds, or Cotswolds in a day.
Yeah.
The next morning, and that's, it's a full day. It's like an 8-hour day. And then we had dinner in Morton and Marsh. And then the next day we did the secret Cotswolds,
Yeah.
which is another full day. But it is the perfect way to get a really good sense of that area. And the two tours are very different
Mm-hmm.
from each other, which I was really pleasantly surprised. There's a little bit more bus time and driving through the countryside in the Secret Cotswolds tour. But it was perfect. It was absolutely the highlight, to me, the highlight of the trip, because I've wanted to see the Cotswolds for so long. You have a really good amount of time in all the little places, and it was perfect. I'm literally ready to move, like,
I've taken my mum on both of those tours as well, and my mum's in her 80s, and she loved them. She just, and I mean,
yeah.
she doesn't live that far out of the Cotswolds, but she just like, she could sit and she, I mean, we both learned quite a lot as well, because the guides are excellent that we had. So that was also
Yeah.
really good fun. I like it because you've got local guides that know the place and know the area. They can answer all your questions.
Mhm.
And I think that it's just a great way to explore, because the Cotswolds are not an easy region to get around unless you've got a car,
No.
or
No.
taking a tour with like Go Cotswolds is a perfect way to do it.
It is, and I loved the size of it because it's a very intimate group, and you're not on a bus with 40 people. You're 16 people, I think, total. And both guides that we had were from there.
Yep.
One of them grew up there and the other one had lived there for 30 plus years. So they genuinely love talking about the Cotswolds. Like, they just really love talking to people about it, and teaching people history. And I absolutely, I was so glad that we did those tours. I would never have seen that much on my own. There's no way I would have been able to see all of that if I tried to do it on my own.
I know it's incredibly well organised, and you get to see a lot of the best bits.
Yeah,
And what about your parents? Did they enjoy the Cotswolds? Was it kind of
they loved it.
yeah?
I think that was I think my dad loved it. That was his favorite part of the trip, I think, also because of the rolling hills and the sheep, and it's all that quintessential England, and the what you picture, and what you see in the movies. And so he loved it. He loved the small town feel of it, and he liked the pubs. Yeah, that's what he wanted to do, and that's what we did. So, yeah, he really liked it a lot. And I think my mom, just the thatched roofs, and what's not to love about it. But it's kind of what you picture. I think when you picture outside of London, it's kind of what you picture when you picture England. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I definitely agree on that. So, what was the weather like? Because I left the UK in February, so I haven't been back for a few months. So, what was it like when you were there? Was it all right?
So we had the most incredible weather the entire time, and I was blown away. Here I am, I'm carrying an umbrella, and I have a rain jacket. We had rain our very first day, and it was like really drizzle, not even rain. We literally did not see a drop of rain for the next 7 days.
Uh,
It was absolutely perfect.
that's brilliant. And the thing is with the UK weather as well. I said everybody is like expect the unexpected, because
Hmm.
honestly you never know what you're going to get. You really really do.
Absolutely.
Really
Absolutely. So we were prepared, but yeah, I actually got sunburned on
do.
part of our trip. I was like, what? I was not expecting that.
Oh.
Not at all.
So let's talk about London. So you had
Mhm.
4 days in London.
Yeah.
So what did you do when you were in London? What were your kind of highlights? Are you planning your dream UK trip but feeling a little overwhelmed? Maybe you started putting together an itinerary but need help fine-tuning it, or you have questions about how to get around by car or by train. Perhaps you'd love to chat with experienced UK travellers to ensure you make the most of your time. Well, we've got you covered. Doug and I are excited to announce that our one-to-one UK trip consultations are now open for bookings for 2025. During these personalised sessions, we'll work with you to refine your itinerary and maximise your time, answer your questions about packing, transport, logistics, etc., suggest tours, activities, and day trips tailored to your interests, and share tips and practical advice to make your trip unforgettable. After your session, we'll send you a personalised Google Sheet within 3 days with all the recommendations and tips discussed during our call. Now, if you're ready to plan your UK adventure with confidence, book your consultation today. Spots are limited, so don't wait. Head to our website at uktravelplanning.com to secure your session. We can't wait to help you plan the perfect UK trip.
So we did a ton of tours. Is basically how we kind of tackled it. My dad sprung on me right before we left that he would like to do tea. He doesn't drink tea, so I wasn't expecting that. Um, so rather, I mean, this was literally a couple weeks before we left. So rather than try to figure that out, and my husband doesn't do tea either. So I found this bus tour that does tea on a bus. It goes around London. So it's not your most authentic way to do tea, but it was pretty cool because we did that the day that we arrived.
And they're fun.
Just to kind of
Yeah, I think
yeah, we
they're
we
fun
had a
too.
great time.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
actually got a whole article about the different afternoon teas and the different afternoon tea buses, because there's quite a few different themed ones as well
Yeah,
that you
there
can
are.
do, and they're also kind of a great way to kind of see a bit of London.
And that's kind of what I figured. So I added it. I didn't plan a whole lot for the day we arrived in London because I didn't know how long it would take us to get in with traffic and things like that. So I planned it for that afternoon so that we could just kind of go around London, and it was really fun. So that's what we did the first day. And then the next day, so we ended up being there during the London Marathon,
Yep.
which does change things a little bit. We were supposed to do the changing of the guard tour the Friday before the marathon, but it got canceled because of the road closures. So we did the changing of the horse guard,
Mm-hmm.
which was really cool. I was so glad that we saw that, and a walking tour of Westminster City. So we had an amazing guide. Again, I booked through your through your link through Viator. I don't know how you say it, but yeah. So we had an amazing tour guide. She was incredible. She was a local young lady from London, and she was hysterical, and she was awesome. She walked us through St. James Park and over to the palace, and it was very cool. And then from there we did another tour. We walked around that part of London for a little bit, and then we did a historic royal pub tour, which was, I just wanted to do something that was a little bit unique. So we did that, and it was awesome. We went to 4 different pubs, and we had a guy who's actually an aspiring actor, so it was very full of life, and it was fun. It was a young man. He was hysterical. He told us a lot of really cool stories about the royals, and some of the early head military people, and it was really cool. So
Brilliant.
that was pretty fun.
I always recommend
And
doing a pub tour. That's one of my favorite things.
yeah,
It's just so much.
yeah, yeah. And honestly, I mean, you could do it on your own, but it's not as much fun, and you don't learn anything. So yeah, I was really glad that we did that. It was really fun. So that was Friday, and then I didn't book anything for the rest of the day because it was already a ton of walking.
Yeah.
We walked like 7-8 miles a day, and my parents are almost 80, so it was, they were troopers. But yeah, so then the next day on Saturday so I don't know if you remember, but I said I wanted to see the coast.
Yeah.
So what I decided to do was I booked a tour to Seven Sisters.
Yep.
So, because it's an easy day trip from London. So, and it included the train ticket. They even had a guide that met us at the train station, and he rode the train with us all the way to Brighton to make sure that we, like, I don't know, didn't get lost, or I don't know. It was great. It was amazing, but it's, like just over an hour from London to Brighton. So he traveled with us, and then we met our tour guide in Brighton, and we went to Devil's Dyke National Trust and Beachy Head, and we saw a farm, a working farm in Sussex, that's been in the same family for hundreds of years, and that was a pretty cool thing to see. So it was a really cool way to see. We saw the cliffs, and it was a really cool way to kind of see the coast and go down onto the beachy head,
Yeah.
and it was awesome. I'm so glad that we did it. It was a long day. It's like a 9-hour tour. And then they give you the option to stay in Brighton if you don't want to, go back right away. They give you train tickets back, and they kind of tell you how to get there. But so we stayed in Brighton for another couple of hours just to check it out, which is a totally different part than what we had been
Yeah.
seeing. So that
Yeah.
was, yeah, so that was cool. It was neat to see that. We just we went into a pub and sat and people watched, and walked around some of the shops and stuff. So that was really cool. And that, like I said, that was like a full day. That was,
It would be.
like, I think we were gone for, I don't know, maybe 11 hours that day total.
It does sound like a really good tour, and I will actually put a link to it in the show notes as well. So if you're listening, I
Okay.
want to do that tour, and I wouldn't mind trying. I mean, I go on loads of tours, but it sounded really good, and I like the fact that it included the train tickets. Something took
Mhm.
you down there, which is really good. So I think
Yeah.
it sounds like a really good day. We
Yeah.
often get asked Dover, the White Cliffs of Dover, or such a popular
Mhm.
destination, but the Seven Sisters, it's so lovely down there. Brighton's gorgeous city,
Yeah.
city, Brighton and Hove, are
Yeah.
really lovely place to go. So I'm glad that you actually got a contrast, because you're in the Cotswolds for that kind of quintessential
Mhm.
countryside, and then you went down and saw some
Yep.
of the beautiful south coast as well. So really, really
Yeah.
good way to do it.
I wanted to maximize our week because I learned very quickly that you need a lifetime to see it all. So I just wanted to try to maximize our trip as much as possible. And I don't know if my parents are going to be able to go back. So I just wanted to kind of tackle as much as possible and just see all the different parts. And it just seemed like the best way to do it. So, yeah.
No, I think that was really good. So
Yeah.
was that the Saturday?
Yep, that was Saturday. And then marathon day, I didn't plan much of anything because I really just didn't know what to expect. And it was definitely, we were staying in Covent Garden. So we just kind of stayed over there,
Yeah.
because it's away from everything. So we did the Covent Garden market in the morning, which was amazing. I loved it. That's the other place I was like, okay, well, I could definitely live in this part of London. I loved it so much. So my mom and I kind of walked around the shops, and we did that in the morning. And then the only thing I had booked that day was I did the Tower Bridge tour. So I booked the last one of the day so that the marathon would
Yeah,
be mostly
'cause
over with and cleared out.
it
So
runs over Tower Bridge, so that's a good
Yes,
idea.
yeah, exactly. So we did that, and that was really, really cool. Because you get to walk over the terrifying glass floors and
Like the stand on,
see the engine
the
room,
stand on
and
London buses. That's what you go across. There's a London bus below you, so it's really cool.
yeah,
I do like it. It's
yeah,
a really good thing to do.
yeah. And so that's what we did, and then I made reservations for, oh, the name just went out of my head, but it's like a famous fish and chip spot that's right under the Tower Bridge, right underneath it, and it's like in a
I
cave.
feel like I should know that, but I've got a
I
blind as
know.
well. Well,
I know. I
we'll
can't
get
think of
we'll
what it's
find out what it
called.
is, and we'll put it in the show notes, because I've drawn a
Yeah, yeah.
blank. Um,
I should have written it down, but I
and was
didn't.
it good? Ah,
Yeah,
good,
it
good,
was.
good. Because there's
Yeah.
lots of amazing places to eat in London, which kind of
Mm.
it kind of brings me back to the fact that you mentioned that you stayed in Covent Garden. Now that, because we get asked all the time about where to stay in London, and we kind of go, well, Westminster area is really good, Covent Garden area is really good, around Tower Bridge, depending on what you're doing, is really good. But I have to say, Covent Garden for me is just such a special area to stay in. The history of Covent Garden is extremely interesting. I'm actually going to do a podcast, hopefully this month, about Covent Garden and what to do and see, because it used to be a very seedy part of London.
Really?
Yeah. Covent Garden was not a place you want to go to. Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. I can't even picture that now.
Can you? Because it's such an amazing area. But yes, it was not a great area. There's a lot of things went on in Covent Garden. So, but I'm talking hundreds of years ago. We're not talking now, because now it's
right.
very popular tourist destination. And there's so much to do and see around Covent Garden, and so many amazing places to eat. So you stayed in Covent Garden. Whereabouts did you stay? Which
we stayed at the Resident.
Yep.
The Resident Covent Garden, which was really, really lovely. And it's in such a good spot because you're in walking distance to a couple of tube stations if you want to get around that way.
Yep.
But there's also the black cabs were so accessible right there also, because it's such a busy little spot. Yep. And you're in walking distance to a million cafes and restaurants, and so you can just you can be done for the day and drop off all your stuff and then just walk a few minutes and you could have your choice of little pub or high-end restaurant if you want, cocktail bar, whatever you want, it's right there. Which was perfect. It ended up being like the perfect little spot for us.
Yeah, we really are spoilt for choice when you're there. That's my favourite place to go, is the cheese bar. It's like a sushi bar for cheese.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, honestly, it's my absolute favourite.
Oh, I would love that.
Pair the cheese up with just the most amazing pairings. I don't know how to do it. So I usually get myself a glass of port and then have the cheeses as they come round. And
I love that.
That is absolutely worth doing but it's a great area. And also there's a lot of really quirky, cool shops as well. The markets, because there's a few markets there. So it's a lovely, lovely area. So yeah, I'm looking forward to actually doing a podcast all about the area.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. That'll be interesting, because I really, really fell in love with that part of London. I really liked it. It's busy but quiet at the same time. I don't know how that combination works, but it does. We never heard a sound outside, and we're in, right in the middle of everything. And I really liked it there a lot.
And there's lots of theatres. I was going to say, it is a fantastic area.
It is. And everything is there.
Absolutely. And there's there's a wide range of accommodation in that area as well. I mean, I've stayed in Holborn, which is kind of, it's the same area. And I've stayed in the Z Hotel in Holborn, which is really reasonable when I've stayed there on my own. So you've got kind of a wide range of, because I know everybody goes, oh, it's so expensive to stay in London. And it is, but if you
it is expensive.
Yeah, you can find, reasonable places. So were there any kind of, you mentioned the fish and chips. Obviously, you went on the bus, afternoon tea bus tour, and you went to some of the pubs. Are there any kind of meals that you had, or anything stand out that you kind of go, oh, I'd love to eat that again?
So I'm not usually super adventurous with food, but when we were in the Cotswolds, I tried a game pie. And it was venison, pheasant, and what was the other one?
Partridge? Pheasant?
Yes. Yep. And I was so terrified.
I love that.
I was like, this is not something that we would eat here at all. But it was so good. I loved it. It was so good. And then I kind of became slightly obsessed with sausage rolls also.
Yes.
They're so good. I don't understand they're so good. We also went to, there's a place called Mr. Fogg's Society of Exploration. So there's like 12 of them, I think, in London, but there's one that's literally right across from the Resident. And so we went down there, and it's basically just like appetizers and small plates, but everything was so good, and the cocktails are really, really fun. We had such a good time in there. I'm so glad that we got to do that. And you don't even know it's there. It's because it's downstairs, and so it's like in the basement. So you just this little door, and you wouldn't ever even know to go down
I know. I
there.
like the. I know you shared a photo in the Facebook group, so we'll have to put that in the
Hmm.
show notes as well, because I know a few people said, "Oh, where is that? Where is that?"
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they have a train car right in the middle of it where you can, and that's where we ended up sitting, which was lovely. But
well, you
yeah.
see, like Doug doesn't drink, but I will still see the fact that you said there's a train car there. I'll get him down there for the train car, and then I can just sit and have a few cocktails. So it works for me and it works for him. I think,
Yeah. And if you love
yeah.
cheese, they have like the best cheese down there. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's called the Vault. My husband just stepped in. It was called the Vault. London Tower Bridge. That's the fish and chips
Ah,
restaurant that's under the
okay.
bridge.
Okay. Well, I
The
don't know about
Vault.
that one. There's so many places to eat. If I ate in all the places in London, I wouldn't be able to get through the door. That's why.
Oh, there's no, I know that. Yeah, no kidding. I know between the beers
Oh yeah.
and the food. Yeah.
So what about did you buy any souvenirs when you were over there? Was there anything that
Oh,
you... I love the way you said
so I took an empty carry-on with me because I know myself. So I did. I bought I bought a beautiful cashmere sweater in the Cotswolds. And I also went into an antique store in Morton and Marsh, and I got a porcelain jar, an antique porcelain jar that toothpaste used to be
Oh,
in.
okay.
And it has like the most beautiful design on the top. It's gorgeous. I'll send you a picture
Oh
of it
yeah.
so you can see it. And then actually one of the more fun things that I did, my daughter asked for, I said, "Is there anything you want me to bring back?" She's in her second year of college. And she said, "Fun earrings." She was like, "Maybe like phone booth
Oh yeah. That's a great
earrings."
idea.
And I thought, oh, this will be super easy to find. They don't exist. I didn't find them anywhere. I must have gone in 20 shops in London and I never saw them. So I actually bought a keychain and I made her earrings when I got home.
You know what? I've done something similar with I think London buses on. I think I bought I don't know something like that, and then I just put them on. I've still
Yeah.
got them actually somewhere. I need to find those because yeah, it's true actually. I was thinking you should be able to find them, but
No, no, I
yeah.
couldn't find them anywhere. It's like I said, guys, this is an untapped market. Somebody needs to be making phone booth earrings because
Well,
they're not
well,
anywhere.
I used to make jewelry. That's something I used to do. Maybe I should be making
Oh,
phone booth earrings.
you you should. You would make a fortune because they don't exist. So yeah,
So
for anybody that wants them, they're hard to
that's a
find.
good.
So I made my own.
That's a great idea. What about your parents? Did they buy any souvenirs when they were over there? Was there anything like, oh, got
Yeah.
to take those back?
Yeah, it was mostly my mom, obviously, but she was looking for Christmas ornaments mostly. That's something that my whole family does that, so I brought some back also. She was a lot more reserved than I was with the shopping. We went into the store in Covent Garden, Molten Brown.
Yes,
The
yeah, very
Yeah.
nice.
So
Yeah.
we both did that, and then she bought some things at the Covent Garden Market. We went into the tea shop that's there, which was gorgeous. So we brought back quite a bit of tea and some artwork. She bought a T-shirt, which she never does. So yeah,
Oh, that's really
yeah,
cool. So you had enough luggage space to bring it all back. So that's
barely,
good.
barely.
And then
Yeah,
so was it the Monday that you flew back?
yeah,
Yeah.
hmm
And Riz took you to the airport, or XFA cars, one of Riz's
yeah,
drivers took you to the airport.
yeah,
That's brilliant.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
so a brilliant trip by the sounds of it. That sounds like you just had a fantastic time, which is I love.
We did.
I love to hear that.
Yeah.
That is so good.
I
And
was not ready to come home at all. I love it there so much.
you'll have to
Yeah.
plan. You'll have to plan another trip.
Yep.
But I always end the podcast with the same question. So I'm going to ask you the usual question that I ask is what would be your one tip that you would share with anybody planning a trip to the UK for the first time?
I think, and I think it's probably a common one, but it bears repeating because I've been thinking about this a lot. I booked everything ahead of time, all of it, all the pub reservations. everything, all of it. I had it all done and I had it all organized, and it just made everything so much easier. There was one night that I didn't make reservations, and I regretted it because reservations work very differently in London. Sometimes you have to request them and they have to like get back to you, and sometimes it could be an hour. So if you're trying to find a place to go, so the reservations are a little bit different than I'm used to here. So that would be my one takeaway is I'm so glad that I booked all the pubs, all the dinners, everything was ahead of time, and it just made it really easy. And I just made a spreadsheet so that I knew where I had to be
Well,
and what time.
I think that it's such a good piece of advice. Honestly, it really is, Kristen, because I mean, I know when Doug and I travel and we haven't done that bit of research or booked somewhere, the amount of times that we waste
Yeah.
walking around trying to find somewhere to eat.
Yes. Yeah. And you're tired, at the end of the day, and you're looking for a place to just stop and have dinner or whatever it is. It's just nice to know exactly where you have to be and what time you have to be there. And you can always change it if you need to, but that way, if you don't have the bandwidth to try to figure it out, and it's just so much easier. And I felt, I was really glad that I did that because it just made it so much easier. And I didn't fill up every single minute of every single day. We knocked out a lot. We saw so much, and we had time to just meander through shops and walk around, and if we want to stop and get a pint, we did. And so it was really nice, and I think that people try to do too much, which is easy to do, and we did a lot. Don't get me wrong, we crammed a lot in there, but I think it was nice. Like the first day in the Cotswolds, we had no plans. We just walked around, and if we were hungry, we ate. And if we wanted to get a pint, we did. And if we wanted to go in the shop, we did. And so it was nice to not have like a constant kind of feeling like I had to fill every single minute. And I think the booking things ahead of time help you to factor in that time also.
Yeah, that's it. You knew you could have that bit of kind of downtime relaxation because you had stuff planned so that
Yeah,
you knew what you were going to be doing. So
exactly.
I think it makes absolute perfect sense. Well,
Yeah.
it's been fantastic to talk to you, Kristen,
Thank you.
and catch up about your trip. It's just I love it. It's always great to hear, and I mean I'm grinning from ear to ear. You're grinning from ear to ear because
Yeah,
it's so much
I could talk
fun.
about this trip for
I know, it's
days.
so much fun. It's so much fun. So I will ask you to send me some photos so we can share them
Yeah.
in the show notes, and I will
Okay.
share links to the different tours that you took as well because you very kindly booked through our affiliate links, which supports all the work that we do. So I just say from the bottom of mine and Doug's heart, thank you so much for doing that.
Absolutely.
Supporting us.
Absolutely.
It really helps, honestly. So it'll be on the show notes, uktravelplanning.com/episode 152. Can you believe it? But that leaves me, and I'm going to say Kristen, to say until next week, happy UK travel planning for both of us.
Yeah,
So thanks so much, Kristen.
absolutely. It was so nice to talk to you.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the UK Travel Planning Podcast. As always, show notes can be found at uktravelplanning.com. If you've enjoyed the show, why not leave us feedback via text or a review on your favourite podcast app? We love to hear from you, and you never know, you may receive a shout out in a future episode. But as always, that just leaves me to say, until next week, happy UK travel planning.